Hey guys, it's Zolva here. With the 2021 Christmas event coming to an end really soon, I decided to make a quick rapid fire guide on every limited edition creature released last year. So sit back and relax and try to keep up with this bite-sized ultimate guide. But first, before I jump into it, please remember to like and subscribe to support my channel. Thank you! Starting off strong with the Norskogg, which is a brand new tier 3 flying herbivore which was obtained during the 2021 Christmas event for 2,500 bells. This creature is adorable. It's like a flying noodle and it has a trail of magic flowing behind it every single time it soars in the sky as an adult creature. Male Norskoggs have these long moustaches on their snouts, whereas females do not have that, and they do have an armour plate perched on top of their upper tail. The in-game description for Norskogg reads, "The Norskogg is a courier of the North Star, a relatively docile and pure creature created to guard the spirit of Christmas." That's adorable. The Norskogg has a health pool of 2,000, a stamina pool of 150, a damage output of 120, and a flying speed of 29, meaning it's a pretty fast flyer. As mentioned before, it is a herbivore, and it only takes 20 minutes to fully grow. Unfortunately, this creature is definitely a lover, not a fighter, as for PvP this creature is probably not your best bet. It doesn't have any offensive breath or offensive abilities, but it does have a passive bleed defense of 10%, meaning it's harder to inflict bleed on the Norskogg than other creatures. But don't let this creature's inability to fight hinder your judgment. This creature is so unique and so cute, and I feel like this is a must-have to any gacha collectors in the game. The second creature released in this event was the return of our beloved Sleirnok, which is a tier 3 terrestrial herbivore which was obtainable for 7,500 bells. Sleirnok's design is really unique, with themes of Christmas being so evident in the design. With holly leaves and bells and big icicle mane, this thing is awesome. Personally, I think that this is such a cool creature to collect, and the statistics totally back up that fact too. With a health pool of 3,100, a stamina pool of 120, and a damage output of 125, this beast is something that you probably don't want to mess with, especially for a tier 3. This creature only takes 20 minutes to fully grow, and it also deals 3 bleed and 0.5 poison every time you attack someone. The Sleirnok also has multiple really good abilities, with the main being the Ice Breath, which you can use using C on your keyboard once your creature has reached adulthood. Alongside having bleed and poison, it also has bleed defense and an Ice Breath, which is arguably one of the best breaths in the game. This breath does 2.5 damage per second to your target, whilst also slowing them down and adding a frozen effect on them. Needless to say, the Sleirnok is a creature that you shouldn't really mess with, despite it only being a tier 3. The in-game description for Sleirnok reads, "The Sleirnok is a mid-sized herbivore that specialises in using its icy cold breath to protect itself against enemies. Their long tusks allow them to scratch maple from trees as they travel among herds. Their carnivorous-like traits also makes them intimidating to encounter." The third creature to be released was actually the Jotunhel, which has returned for the second year in a row, much to the happiness of the community. I think this was the most requested creature to come back to this event, and surprise guys, you now have a second opportunity to get the Jotunhel for 15,000 bells. Y'all better get grinding, you've only got a couple of days left. Jotunhel are mammalian semi-aquatic flyers who rely on a varied diet of fish and land creatures. They are well-balanced flyers and swimmers, and their fluff and blubber protects their body from hard slaps. That was the in-game description, it really does say slaps. For those of you who don't know, the Jotunhel is an absolute unit. It has 4,000 health, 80 stamina, 300 damage, and also has a growth time of 45 minutes. If that wasn't enough, this creature not only is all-terrain, but it also has a super cool breath, which is hella OP. Along with having 1.5 bleed, the Jotunhel has a water breath, which can be used by pressing C when you are an adult. This ability deals 1.2 damage per second, saps the energy of the creature that you've targeted, and also blurs their vision, making it super difficult for them to maneuver or escape your Jotunhel. It's really powerful, and I love this creature. I feel like the Jotunhel is actually a community favourite in terms of its design and how powerful it is despite being nerfed so many times. This creature is definitely one that you don't want to miss, especially since we don't know if it's coming back for a third time next year. The fourth Christmas creature to be released last year was the Varskela, which is a tier 4 terrestrial omnivore which was available for 5,000 bells. This creature looks like a big cat, but with added mane. The difference between males and females on this creature is super obvious. Males have horns on their head, whereas females have Warden-like floating headpieces on their head, right here. The in-game description for the Vasquella reads, "The Vasquella is a territorial and hyper-aggressive beast. It uses its large, dense icicles protruding from its neck and back as armour, and the icicles on its limbs and tail to cut through its attackers. The Vasquella remains its sub-zero armour by living in glacial caves which drip water onto its coat to then freeze instantly. This thing is an armoured beast." Its statistics are also very beefy. It has 4,800 health, 90 stamina, a damage output of 220, and also a weight of 7,500. This thing also has a whopping 5 bleed, and also is an omnivore. Alongside with having bleed and bleed defense, this creature has a glacier breath, which, you guessed it, can be used by pressing C when this creature turns to adult. Alongside with having bleed and bleed defense, the Vasquella also has a glacier breath, which is very, very powerful. This breath inflicts 2 damage per second and applies the slowed effect on targets, making it hard for both land and flying creatures to escape before you plow them down. Ultimately, this thing is an absolute unit, and I would not want to come across one of these guys in real life, let's just put it like that. This thing's mean. The fifth creature to be released last year was the Yosog, which was a tier 4 terrestrial omnivore obtainable for 7,000 bells. This thing is like a icicle frog. I love this creature. It reminds me in a way of the Grammos, but cuter. The in-game description for Yosog reads, "The Yosog is a large, lumbering beast that dwells in the icy peaks of Sonaria's mountains. They are very lazy in nature," I mean same, "and spend most of their time laying around in the snow." Snow puppies! This creature's gender differences is actually really impressive because the females have an entirely different model to the males. Males have an armour-like distinction on their backs. The females, however, have like feathers going along their backs, and it is completely different to the males, and it just looks fantastic. Chef's kiss. This creature is a lumbering unit. It has 7,500 health, a smallish stamina pool of 80, but a damage output of 200. This thing also has 15,000 weight, meaning that it deals more damage to creatures that are smaller than it. It only takes 47 minutes to fully grow, and it is an omnivore, so when you're in a pinch and can't find berries, you can always feast on the flesh of your enemies. Same. And if those beefy statistics weren't enough, this creature has a bleed defense of 60% and also the ice breath, which can be used by pressing C when your creature grows to adulthood. This is an elemental breath that inflicts 2.5 damage per second, the slowed effect, and the frozen effect on targets. Basically, this thing is a tank, and as cute as it is, I don't think I would be, quick to annoy it. This creature is so unique, especially with how different the males and the females are from each other. I definitely don't know if this creature is going to be available again next year, so I suggest that you need to go into game, right now and make sure that you, get one of these in the bag before the event ends. And last but not least, the last normal creature released was the Tundrik, which is a tier 3 flying omnivore, which is obtainable for 4,000 bells. The in-game description for the Tundrik reads, "The Tundrik is a frozen flyer living in high altitudes. Adults grow a mane of icicles due to their time spent in the cold, whilst adolescents do not. Although its delicate snowflake design makes it appear weak, its skin is frozen solid and able to endure combat. The Tundrik has 3,000 health, 110 stamina, and a damage output of 160. It only takes 20 minutes to grow, it's a tier 3, and is an omnivore." This creature looks super awesome. And the females actually have these rotating like snowflakes going around their neck, and when you do the aggro pose, they kind of just go woo around your neck, and I think that is so cool. Along with having beefy stats for a tier 3 flying creature, this thing has a 45% bleed defense and also has an ice breath, which can be used by pressing C when your creature turns to adulthood. This inflicts 2.5 damage per second, the slowed effect, and the frozen effect to your target. Whilst I will admit that this creature isn't my favourite out of the ones which have been released during this event, I still think that if you want to complete the set, it is definitely something that is worth going for, as I don't know if it's returning next year or not. And finally, the big mama of all of the creatures released this year, the Boreal Warden is back, baby, for the second year in a row. This thing is a tier 5 titan. It is by far the biggest creature in game and probably will be the biggest creature ever to come to the game in Sonaria, full stop. This thing is available for a whopping 25,000 bells. Wowee. This thing is such a collector's item, and this has been one of the rarest creatures in the game for such a long time, and this is something that you definitely do not want to miss out on, as when the event is over you're going to have to wait another year for this thing to come on sale again. The in-game description reads, "The Boreal Warden, a very rare and mysterious creature that is hard to spot in Sonaria. These giants are quite passive, helping neighbouring herbivores who seek protection. Legends say that these Boreal Wardens are often referred to as Hualahul, I think that's how you pronounce it, by ancient creatures who would worship and respect these wardens during times of harsh winters. This big friendly giant has a health pool of 15,000, a stamina pool of 60, and a damage output of 75, ranging to 525. I'll get onto that in a little second. This thing has a whopping weight of 65,000, is a herbivore, and takes 90 minutes to fully grow. As a warden, this creature has Warden's Rage, which is an ability that all wardens have. Basically, during Warden's Rage, your stamina regeneration gets doubled, your health regeneration is slowed down, and also your attack damage is multiplied by 7 times. Basically, every single time you're attacked, you become stronger, meaning you will be able to, like, 3-shot most creatures at the end of Warden's Rage, providing you don't end up dying before they kill you. Okay, and that concludes the list of 7 creatures released in the 2021 Christmas event. Some of them may be returning for 2022's Christmas event, but obviously that's a year away now. It hasn't been discussed and no leaks have been confirmed yet by the developers, so if you want to collect any of these creatures, now is your chance, because I have a suspicion that it might be ending this Friday, considering it is now the 5th of January. If you're watching this after the 2021 event has ended, hi! Ignore all of the bell prices. The bells were just a temporary currency introduced where you had to kind of do boss fights and earn the bells. It's irrelevant now. So basically you will be able to collect these creatures by buying them from other players selling them in the trade realm. Good luck. So anyways, you guys, thank you so much for watching. This is the first video I've done where I have like my face in the corner. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did, and leave a comment down below letting me know what your favourite Christmas creature released this year was. Well, I say this year, you guys know what I mean. Once again guys, thank you so much for watching. Until my next video, stay safe, but most importantly, stay funky.